have access to that, that would be something I'd have to link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Or they just go to the UET curriculum YouTube channel and
Okay.
yeah, but for the most part, I'd recommend sending links. Okay. Now I think we're all set.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How's everyone?
Okay.
Good.
How was your lunch?
It was exciting. I had pasta.
Pasta.
How was everyone else's lunch?
Good.
It was good.
Sloppy Joes.
I decided to have a sandwich.
Sandwiches are always good. I appreciate sandwiches.
Me too.
I had a peanut butter and jelly
Even better.
and that chocolatey drink.
Yay!
It was good. It works really well together.
The chocolate drink.
Yeah, with the peanut butter and jelly.
This is very interesting.
Okay. Log into all the things. Oh. Who had a blended that just ended? Oh, okay. Well, welcome to session 2 then.
You have invited to join the conference.
Oh yes. For anybody who's physically present, that's probably a little bit redundant, but just because I don't know who's gonna necessarily be present, I've sent it to everyone.
Should I just test it for you? See if it works.
If you'd like, that would be lovely. Does it beep at me? Does it beep at me? Might beep at me.
Hey, CJ.
Hi, CJ.
Oh. This is a good group. You didn't lie to me.
Hi. Oh, look at all these ads. Okay. Oh, hello. You are in here. It doesn't beep at me though. That's good to know.
Does it say who I am?
Yep. This is what it looks like. You're going to be seeing this screen quite a lot, all of you, so sorry for that.
I left my phone in the kitchen. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm here.
Attendance isn't mandatory anyway, so you're good.
Oh, okay, bye.
Oh, I mean,
First day.
Trust me, you want to. I looked at the contact. You want the nugget.
that's true.
Surprise exit out.
Yes. Or you can.
You
leave
are
it on.
currently the only person in this conference.
Oh, bye.
Oh.
You're the one in the conference.
I left,
It's
so
frozen.
it told her.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, she froze it.
Did. I'm opening. Not that anything is.
If I'm really feeling lazy, I could just log into this
Unfreeze it.
You can. You can
and just take
Oh,
this
unfreeze it and
class
refreeze it. That's
on my bed in my drawer. Yeah, I like that.
yes. You could. The options are endless. I'll give it 1 or 2 more minutes, just because there are some people who might be trying to log. So note for everyone else, I'll probably mention this again when I start recording. I'm going to leave my email open at least for the first 10-20 minutes. So if anytime you are trying to log in and there's an issue, there will be live help or lack of help depending on what the issue is, but at least live acknowledgement of what's going on. So that'll be up. With that, though, the caveat is sometimes my email beeps. So I apologize, but hopefully that won't be too disruptive, and I'll get rid of it after about the first 20 minutes.
Oh, Jill, it's so distracting.
I'm not that popular, so I probably won't get that many emails.
Oh.
But, oh. Welcome, Austin. Can you hear everything okay?
You're not gonna be able to hear him, I don't think.
Oh.
He just activated his audio. It wasn't on before. Try asking him again.
Austin, can you hear us? Welcome.
I think the question is if we can hear him.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect. So, yes.
No, you have an option to turn on your microphone or not. So
Yes, because he's got his.
you have the chat.
Perfect. We're just waiting a minute or two to make sure that everyone can get in. Did you have any trouble, Austin? Okay, perfect. And this won't be a inquisition, I promise. Just want to make sure, since you are our first lovely guinea pig who is remote with us, just checking that as well.
Spanish Inquisition.
Hopefully not. That is the next class.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll take that one.
Actually, Abby would probably be a better instructor for that. I'm just going to make up things and quote Monty Python, which is probably not. And Austin, I mentioned this to the other students, but I leave my email open for about the first 20 minutes of class, just in case there are issues with logging in or if you have any challenges that arise. So if you need it, you are welcome to email me as well for these sessions if something is funny. The chat itself doesn't ding at me, so I will be periodically checking it, but if there's something that goes unnoticed for a few minutes, it's not because I'm ignoring you.
She's ignoring you.
Hello.
Hello.
This is exciting. Everyone sat in like the first row. I love you all already. It's good. Usually get like 5 people over there, 1 there, and then 1 person who just bravely sits in the front. And possibly it's because they
How
can't
many
see the screen.
on-campus students are supposed to be in here?
That is a good question. I know there are 26 students total. I'm not sure how many of them are going to be physically present and how many not so physically present.
Mariah's in our class, so she's online.
Yes.
And Adrienne is online as well.
Okay. All right. So, with that, we'll get started. There might be a few other stragglers that come along. We're going to go kind of over some of the basics of Blended. I know this might be review for some of you just because you were just in a class, but for those of us who are different statuses, like on ground, I want to make sure everybody's aware of expectations, and if you decide that you are not going to be physically present, or if you're going on vacation, or if there's something else that would hinder you from being here, we'd still love to have you virtually if you can call in for the whole session or part of the session. So, welcome to everyone here and to the lovely Austin who is calling in with us. So this screen is probably going to become very familiar to all of you. There is a chat function here, so as you can see, there are already messages here for anybody who does call in. As far as I know, there's no way to set this to beep. So if you have a question or if you have something else, I believe there's a hand raising function that you can set your status over here. I think I can just switch who is presenter, but Austin, you might be able to click to the left of your name, and I think it does a hand raise thing. That might give some kind of beep. I'm not totally sure, but I will be periodically checking this. I did mention already, for most of you have already heard this, but I'll leave my email open for about the first 20-25 minutes of class. So if you are trying to log in, if you are virtual, for anybody who's watching this after the fact for our online students, and if you decide that you want to join us for a session, just in case something goes wrong, it will be there. All right. So, does anyone have questions about the conferencing tool itself? Okay, so everyone should have received an invitation. Most of you didn't take me up on the offer, which is totally fine since you are sitting in here, or possibly unavailable if you are online, except for the fabulous Austin. So they will come up here, but they should also come up on your home section. You can join it They will also populate under conferences, concluded conferences. They're all going to be recorded so you can watch them after the fact. There is a very important element that comes from these, especially if you are not going to be present with us. So if anybody was looking at the shell bright and early this morning or the end of last night, you noticed a really strange thing that says info nugget as something that you submit. If you were in Abby's class, this is probably something that's familiar to you. If you were not, essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to have either a environmental body, environmental scientist, environmental related person or agency that will be highlighted that day. This is essentially how you're going to get your participation. So if you're in class, you will be able to just submit the name of whatever it is we discussed, and I'll highlight that for you, who that or what that is for today and oncoming future sessions. And if you are not present, please take the time, if you can, to watch the recording after the fact to get that nugget and submit just that name. You're not going to need to do a write-up. You're not going to need to submit a picture or anything fancy, just the name of whatever it is that we mentioned. So for those of you pioneering individuals who have decided that, oh, Jill, now I know your secret, I'm just going to tune in at the beginning of every class. Well, we are going to be doing it at different times during the recording. So this is not to trick you. This is just to make sure that, especially for those of us who are either attending in person or attending virtually live, still get credit, or those who are online are still able to kind of prove that they were also with us, even if they couldn't be with us at the time that this was recorded. So for anybody who's curious about that, that will be for each module, and it will be under, it's essentially due Sunday at midnight. So that deadline will always stay the same. Because we have such long sessions, if anybody's unaware, this is a 2-hour session instead of a 50-minute session. So not news to some of you, but for my lovely on-ground people, just so that you're aware. The dates I've essentially swapped to be the day before our class. So a lot of these topics we're going to be discussing the next class, so we're going to kind of have some of those thoughts prepared and ready so that we'll have something to discuss in that class. Let's see if, oh, hello, we have a new addition. Adrian, can you hear us? Should have asked you this earlier, probably.
Hi.
Let's do this. Oh. This is where everybody gets to see how terrible my typing is.
You.
Oh, wow. All right.
Oh my god. Jill.
Don't judge me. Yes, okay, perfect. All right. So, welcome. We're glad to have you. I mentioned this possibly before you joined, but this doesn't ding at me, so I will be periodically checking the chat, but just so you know, I'm not ignoring you. But as you can see, what I'm sharing on my screen is exactly what I see, so when this is not up, I can't see you. For those of you who are not used to this format, we are going to have a little bit more of this back and forth, so stick with me. You're a good bunch, so I'm sure that won't be a problem, but I know it's going to be a little bit interesting to have a unique variety of different students in the class at one time. So we're glad to have both of you in here virtually as well. So, because we are kind of aware that the first day is always intro, the most exciting part of the class, we're just going to go over expectations. We're going to look at our first assignment, and we're going to look at kind of what to expect with the structure and layout. Yeah?
So just because I think I might have missed it because I was running to grab my phone. So if we're on-campus students, we can come in through the conference call instead?
Absolutely.
I have a bad back and these chairs aren't great for 2 hours. So like I have a chair for my back up in the dorm type of thing. So that's good to know. So.
Absolutely, yes. So you do not have to be physically present. There is no attendance that's associated with this class. The replacement for attendance are those info nuggets. So you will still be getting credit for those of you who are like, great, I never have to see that person again. Please do watch this if you're not able to be here. I try to make things interesting. There will be some guest speakers as well, so you won't just have to deal with me for 2 hours constantly forever. But we will be dealing with interesting subjects, which we're going to get into in a moment. But yes, if anybody has anything, if you know
I'll
you're
head up there then, and
perfect.
I'll be in the call in
Okay,
a minute.
sounds good. So if you do need to pop out, or if you can only join us for part of a session, that's also totally acceptable. You're totally welcome to do that. So the first page, which I think will probably be the most helpful, and we will go over this every week, but especially for those of you who are joining us. No, it flashed at me, so I thought something happened. For those of you who are joining us online after the fact, this is probably going to be your best friend. And for those of you who are here with us, this is a good way to kind of see the breakdown of the week. So 7.5 weeks, so welcome to week 0.5 of class. We do not have class on Tuesday of next week due to 4th of July. If any of you have classes on Monday, it's also an academic holiday, so it doesn't apply to this class, but just as a heads up for anybody else who's going through other courses. So we're not holding a session for that. Typically for each week, with the exception of this week where we have kind of the Q&A board, you're gonna have reading and you're gonna have assignments, as you're probably anticipating for all of your classes. So before we get into those, just a quick note about the Q&A board. If you have questions, especially if you think something is going to apply to other students, this is a good place to post it. You're welcome to ask them in class, whether you are here physically or here virtually. That is also an acceptable venue, but this is an option for those of you, particularly for those of you online who maybe are not here with us right now. You're welcome to email me if it's something that's more personal or something that you'd rather not showcase on a public forum, but this is an option for those of you who would like to ask something. You're also, as students, welcome to kind of answer things if there's something that you find interesting, or maybe there's a paper or something you can lead them to. Engage with your peers. We have a unique variety of virtual, on-ground, and online people, so it's nice to be able to engage everyone. So feel free to do that. Let me check, make sure. Okay. So we are kind of gonna hit the ground running, but you only really have one assignment this week. So for all of you who are virtually or physically present, your intro is already done, or will be in a few minutes. You do not need to submit anything for that. If you are joining us after the fact and you're watching this, please make sure that you submit an introduction discussion, which we'll look at in a few moments with essentially your name, your major, and because it's always good to start off with a thought question, we're going to do that as well. But for those of you here right now, do not worry about actually submitting anything for that. And then you will have your submission, your participation nugget, which we'll get into as well. That, please still, even if you are attending virtually or physically, please do submit the name of whatever it is that we mention. So you can do that live as soon as we mention it if you have a laptop or other Wi-Fi enabled device, but please make sure that you still submit whatever that is. Yes?
Do we have to put the date of the nugget too?
Good question. So yes, for the days that we have 2 different nuggets, please make sure that you are mentioning which one is which. It's not a huge deal if you miss out on the date, because we're only going to have 1 nugget for each day and they're not going to be the same. So ideally yes, but if you forget and blank on the date, that's also fine, as long as you have the name of whatever it is we're discussing. And we will be going over this environmentalism and pop culture discussion in a moment. So if you notice, it's due on the 5th of July, which is Wednesday. So it's going to be right before our class session on Thursday. So you'll have until midnight on Wednesday, and then we're going to be engaging with that subject matter and some of the things that you found on Thursday for those who are going to be here. And for those who will be watching it later, that is also a good option. Okay. So, just to give a little bit of a breakdown of what we're going to be doing in class. We're going to be looking at several different topics, but we're going to be looking at them through the lens of perspectives that we don't get maybe much exposure to in media, in our general public. So we're going to be looking at topics that you've probably heard something about, but we're going to be looking at it through indigenous voices or through other experts or potentially non-experts that provide certain elements that further the discussion. So we're going to be diving in next week into a little bit into climate change, but we're going to be moving that into essentially our week 2.5. We are also going to be looking at conflict minerals. Originally, we were going to have a guest speaker, a gentleman who's worked with a project called Stand with the Congo. They're actually working on a tool now that is going to be rolled out next semester. So if you have questions or if you have follow-up that you'd like from his documentary, I can forward those questions along to him. But we do have hopefully a gentleman coming to speak on geoengineering and a few people on corporate sustainability and on local initiatives in the Valley. So it'll be exciting, hopefully. I'm excited, but you'll probably come to realize very soon that I'm often excited, so, which is probably strange given the subject matter that we're going to be discussing. We will also be looking at human trafficking. This is a unique subject because we're going to be looking at it since all of us in this room are technologists. Yes, to some capacity, whether that's in digital art or whether that's in programming or network security. So we're going to be looking at tools to combat some of these challenges through that. And we're actually going to be looking at a non-expert voice that's created a pretty cool organization called Thorn. That will be continued when we get there. And then we will be looking at geoengineering, which essentially is modifying our planet to do what we want it to do, which if you're already thinking that sounds like a terrible idea and there are probably unintended consequences, you are absolutely right. But we have a gentleman from the Future Institute who's going to be discussing with us some of the work he's done. And we're also going to be looking at some of the more outlandish technology like space mirrors, because that's always a fun discussion.
Is he actually coming to class and speak?
A lot of our guests are going to be Skyping in with us,
Okay.
because we have from the East Coast and from California. So unfortunately, it's not easy to get them here, especially for one kind of two-hour segment when they have many other things they're doing. But the geoengineer actually will be joining in the other class. So if anybody wants a sneak peek of him, I'll let you know. It's on July 18th. I'll flag it closer to the day. And if you'd like to sit in and watch that, or if anybody online would like a recording of that, I can make sure that we have that available for you. Okay. Sorry, I periodically switch windows. I just want to make sure that... Oh, we have another person! Oh, actually, he just said he was going to be... Okay. All right. Hi, Alex. He just said he was going to... Okay. So, we're also going to be looking at social indicators. So, we've probably heard of things like GDP in other classes we've had in the past. We're also going to look at some new ones like the Good Country Index and the Happiness Index. So that's an interesting unit with talk of the global vote, which will be our discussion for that week. Always a good talk, always a little heated, which keeps things exciting. And we'll discuss this more as it gets closer, but just a heads up on the final project for anybody who wants to manage their time or kind of figure out what they would like to do for that early. It's going to be your turn to tell some kind of environmental story. So this class is a little bit unique because we're going through the perspective of storytelling, but please make sure that whatever you are covering, you are also looking at the scientific perspective, because this is a science class first, It's just the mode that's going to be a little bit less traditional. So we'll get a little bit more context for that, and you are welcome to choose any perspective that you want to capture. So we're going to be looking at all of these topics through different perspectives. So usually exciting, and we have many different perspectives in this room as well, so that keeps things interesting. Always feel free to share some of those things as we move forward. And in our first assignment, I'm hoping to get a little bit more insight into all of your interests, and you'll see what I mean by that in a moment. But, sorry Alex, yeah. I just got excited because I saw suddenly a new name, and I was ready. I was ready to invite and excite a new person, but alas. Okay, so any questions on course layout? Okay, so the only day off or the only upset to our typical Tuesday, Thursday is 4th of July. So have fun, enjoy, be safe. If you are traveling, also be safe, have fun, enjoy. But otherwise, we will have sessions up until the 17th of August, 18th of August, whatever that Thursday is of the final of the semester will be, maybe it's the 16th.
It's the 17th.
17th, all right, yes, confirmed. All right. No questions from our lovely virtual people? I'm going to assume not. Okay. And for anybody, for those of you who are joining us virtually, you are welcome. If you have a microphone during some of our discussions, it's probably a little bit easier if you want to chime in periodically with those microphones. If you don't have a microphone, we can find a way to facilitate via the chat, but I will also be asking you questions posed to everyone in the course. So that's something that should just be noted if you have the opportunity in the future to grab a microphone so that we can facilitate this process a little bit more easily. I think I can get rid of, well, I'll keep it up there for a little bit longer. All right, so few things. For those of you, I see one has already brought a laptop, but periodically we're going to be doing things online. And while we like to be agile and kind of move classrooms or set up things in new places, because of the nature of the structure of this course, we're going to be a little bit less agile from that. If you do need to kind of break off into the commons for certain activities, that's fine too. But I would encourage you on days that are flagged, which I will let you know at the beginning of the week, to bring, if you have a laptop, that would be lovely, just to make sure that we can kind of keep everything in the same area and we don't have to be chasing people around for different things that we are, different activities that we're doing. And then for those of you who are joining us online, I imagine you do have a computer with a internet connection, so this will not be a challenge for any of you. Okay, and also please do, if you get the chance, to check the announcements. This will be something every week that will come up kind of with just what's going on. They should go out in an email as well, but just be aware that this is something that's good to check out, to just flag for homework and different things. Any questions so far? I say that without having. No. All right, so then let's start us off with our first assignment, which is our introduction. All right, so for those of you who do not know me, I know maybe some of you have heard this spiel before, so I apologize. I don't get reinvigorated with new experience very frequently, so you're going to hear it again. But my name is Jill, which maybe I should have said from the very beginning. My experience is in a lot of supply chain emissions testing. So I worked with Dell Computers looking at their supply chain and kind of capturing Scope 3 emissions, which is a lot of fancy jargon. for essentially saying there's a bunch of stuff that we make and impacts from that stuff, and how do we categorize and quantify that stuff. So I did that with Dell for 3 years, and then I moved to the UK and worked with the BBC on a media framework looking at how to categorize references in programming, which watching a whole lot of TV for references sounds like it would be exciting, but it's mind-numbingly dull. So that was a exciting kind of a work, but my team was really good. So a little bit of different things. I've done things with social norms as well, and published a few papers on that. But that's, so you're gonna get a little bit of different things. I also have a few people who are gonna be far more erudite on some of these topics than I, who will be coming to speak with you and share their everyday perspective on some of these topics. So you'll get not just my perspective in the environmental perspectives class, but several other people as well. So, and I'm excited to hear about all of your perspectives. But, oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. This is the introduction and important policies, in case you would like to look at those. Okay, so, just so that I'm fair and I answer my own question, beyond just kind of the basics of who are you and what are you doing here, we're going to be looking at what you think humanity's greatest challenge of this century is. So, it's a big question for probably a 12:30 class on Thursday before 4th of July. Yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, good, because we're going to be asking a lot of big questions in this class, and we're going to be covering a lot of heavy subject matter. So, to just, you know, get our feet wet initially, I'm going to say that this challenge is going to lie in fresh water in the next century. So there's a gentleman who now I've forgotten the name of that says the next world war will be over water. We are looking at places in Syria, in Israel, in parts of Africa, in parts of South America, and many other places that are already seeing conflicts over water, water privatization, and access to these resources. So that's going to be where I put my eggs into this basket for this question. But I'm interested to hear what all of you think on the matter, because, of course, coming from different industries with different expertise, you may see this challenge differently, and that's encouraged and absolutely acceptable. So you don't have to cover an environmental or social element. You can look at something beyond that. But I wonder if I can have 2 windows up. If I can see our people and my email. No, that's not what I need to see. Okay. So just so we have our question up, maybe we'll start with our lovely, oh wow, goodbye. Okay. The struggle is real.
Jill, do you want me to show you something cool?
The snapping function?
Yeah.
How do I get? I just want this to snap.
And snap to the other.
This is why did you leave me? Now you're on the other side. Oh, it's fine. This is what's gonna happen for. This is why I said it's good. We gotta be agile. We gotta manage. Maybe our expectations. We'll see. Okay. All right. Kind of. It works. Maybe we'll start with our on-ground people while I figure this out.
You can split it in half.
I could do that. I want you to see the whole question though.
Okay.
Would you like to start us off?
Everything?
Yes.
Okay. My legal name is Casey Jordan Logston. Don't you dare call me Casey. Call me CJ, please.
Okay.
My major is digital media, and I am a 2nd semester junior. Yes. I'm currently living behind the school, not in the dorms, just in the dumpster.
Alright.
And humanity's greatest challenge, not making the world burn.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
For psychology.
robotics student, second year junior, or second semester junior. I'm from North Carolina, but I'm living in the dorms.
Cool. Nice and close.
Yeah. Do you think humanity's greatest challenge will be clean energy generation?
Absolutely.
My name's Jordan Rude. My major is network security. I'm going into my senior year. I'm originally from Ohio, and I'm living in the dorms. And I think humanity's greatest challenge will be overpopulation in the next century.
Ah, ooh, okay.
My real name is Nikisha. I did not go by that. I go by Nikki. My major is business technology and network security. I am going into my senior year, and I'm currently living in the dorms. And the humanities' greatest challenge, I think, is cell phones.
The use of or the sourcing of?
Both.
Okay.
Right, I'm Josh. Major is game design. Senior. Currently living in Tempe. Humanity's greatest challenge.
And
I
for
guess humanity's greatest challenge would be dealing with greed, I guess.
okay, I like it. Good answer.
I'm Ivan Garrido. I don't have a nickname. I'm a first semester freshman. My major is business technology. I'm born and raised here in Phoenix, and I'm living in Litchfield Park, which is way over there by the other side of the world. And humanity's greatest challenge of this century, I think, just like being able to keep like a stable climate without messing
Okay.
it up.
Absolutely. Very, very popular in our discussions and in our media kind of mindset.
Hi guys, my name is Leonel. I go by Leo, easier to say. Major is network security.
Sometimes it's blurry.
I'm living in Phoenix, but I'm currently from Georgia.
Still
And
heat, but no humidity.
last question. Entertaining each other. Ethics or religion.
The root of a lot of our social challenges does come down to that, absolutely. So, we will get to our lovely virtual people, but just as a quick note, which you probably see nice and red on the screen, for those of you who have done this right now or will be doing it presently, you do not need to submit anything. I know there are people in here though that really enjoy the calendar function that crosses off assignments, and so I have learned that even if I give you a grade, but you haven't submitted something to either a discussion board or to the assignment Dropbox section, it doesn't cross that off nice and neatly for you. So if you are somebody who would just like to say present in class, which I'm going to be sending around a sheet just to make sure, for those of you who don't submit that you still get credit, you are welcome to do that as well if that's just more satisfying for you, or if that helps you manage the calendar function on Canvas. Don't feel like you have to do it, but I know I get some people that are like, it's still on my calendar, and it's week 5, and it won't go away. So, nobody actually sounds like that, I'm sorry.
I was like, do I talk like that? Excuse you.
I was speaking specifically to you, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so our virtual lovely, oh, now I blocked all of your names. I will also be noting your names for those of you who are with us virtually on this sheet. So that applies to you as well. If you'd like to submit something to get it crossed off and kind of checked off of your calendar, you're welcome to do that. Oh, you know what? We're going to do a webcam just so that you can actually see people who are just talking to you.
Oh boy.
Except, oh, well, this is good. I'm really good at this. So,
Hi.
would you mind just saying your name again? You don't have to do the whole intro.
I'm CJ.
Andrew.
Oh, what?
There
This is
you
good.
go.
It's good. We need a few roadblocks before we figure this out.
CJ, one more time.
CJ.
I'm Andrew.
I'm just gonna hold this. I'm just gonna hold this. Okay.
Jordan.
Nikki.
Josh. Ivan.
Leo.
Jill! All right, now that we're done with that. Sorry, guys. Okay,
And it's on us. Why is that?
because you're in the middle.
Students.
All right. We won't be doing webcam constantly. This is just something that especially for, it puts a little bit of a face to a name for those of us who are in different locations. So Adrian, would you like to let us know a little bit about yourself? You're welcome to type it in if you do not have a microphone. Maybe
That's
I
my
should
best
have.
friend.
Huh?
Adrian.
Oh,
Now you know. Random fact of the night. Day.
good to know. And Austin, this applies to you as well if you want to start typing. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Alex, do you have, it looks like you have a microphone. Would you like to start us off while our other two lovely people are typing?
That.
Bad.
Hello?
Oh.
I can't tell if it's
You are now
or not,
muted.
because I can hear me sometimes, but not always. Through you.
You are now
Is it
unmuted.
working?
Yeah, okay. Maybe I
Yeah,
do
we
need to
can
have
hear
this
you.
because otherwise if I...
I don't.
Yes, we
I
can
don't-
hear you.
Okay. I just. Whatever.
You are
Okay.
now muted.
I'm Alex. I'm a senior game design and ACS student. I'm in the dorms right now. And I think the biggest problem is. Those are the three. Is just resource management. Like, it's not like water, we need to wash, but it's there's a bunch of stuff that if we use wrong, we will have none of and won't have set up a replacement thing for yet. But I think it's just resource management in general, that we're either going to get really good at it or not have resources this century.
You are now unmuted.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And we're going to see that a lot of these, particularly in our geoengineering unit, replacing things that the Earth has done well for us is a little bit difficult. We already actually see that in places like China, where we've lost a lot of the bees, and now we have hand pollinators, which, as you imagine, is a very glamorous job that doesn't take a long time at all. And humans, in fact, surprise, not as good at pollinating blossoms as bees. So, fun fact of the day, but absolutely very interesting when we try to not just manage the resources, but also consider what do we do once a resource is gone and we don't have a easy substitution for that resource. All right. I'm going to assume that both Adrian and Austin are typing furiously away. So you are welcome to post your introductions as you see fit.
You know what? They might have posted it in the course shell.
Oh, I could check that as well. Oh, I'm in the thing. All right.
It's okay, Jill. We love you.
Oh, maybe not.
So the first day is always an exciting adventure for me, so I apologize.
We should reload it because I posted in there and it's not showing. There you
Oh, there we go.
Oh, 2 people. Okay,
go.
cool.
I mean, they didn't, but you know.
Let's see. We'll give them a few moments more. Otherwise, we'll kind of swap and come back to this just so that we keep a cadence to the class, since I know that it's a unique format. Is there anyone who has anything to add to other challenges maybe that we heard discussed from other students that maybe sparked a thought? No thoughts? Devoid of thoughts. Okay. Thinking of other things, thinking of the meal you're going to have after this class. Ooh. Hello.
Hello.
Well, this is good. We're just in the middle of...
Didn't know if it was a class or what. Now it's just like, can't English. I'll peek my head in.
Oh. Yes,
Yeah.
it is a class.
So I apologize
you're good. It's good. There wasn't a class in here before, so. For those of you who are virtual with us right now, were you able to hear all of the introductions? I want to kind of know the status of this mic. This delay is always really exciting. Yes, okay, good. All right, all right, that's fair. Okay, welcome back, Austin. It's good. There's still the recording that you can view at a later time. So, do you have a microphone? This is directed at Austin. Okay, would you like to introduce yourselves to us then? We have these questions. Everyone else kind of discussed this with us. So we're just looking at basic introduction and then what you think humanity's greatest challenge of this century is. Microphone pick that up.
That's impressive.
All right, so we'll be seeing a little bit, especially for those of us who are used to on-ground courses, this might be a little bit of a change, but it's good. It's the way of the future.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you. I'll mute myself.
You are now muted.
All right. What am I asking or answering? All right. So my name is Austin. My major is NetSec, and I'm a senior. I'm living in my house, Chandler, and humanity's greatest challenge, I think, would just be, you know, coexisting. How do we live with ourselves and the differences that make us who we are? And can we accept that and move on?
You are now unmuted.
So awkward. Has to tell me every time. Thank you, Austin. I
Yep.
absolutely agree with you. Oh, hey, perfect timing. So now we have everyone. So thank you for joining us as an online student. So I don't know if everybody can read this, but Adrian is located in Glendale, studying business tech in 4th semester at UAT. From New Mexico. Oh, but been in New Mexico for 12 years or Glendale? Possibly one or the other. And then the biggest challenge is economic system. Oh, okay. So you're not new to the summer, which is good. Probably less of a shock, especially with the heat warning we had last week. But yes. It's going to be interesting for this economic system that you mentioned. So we're going to look at what economic paradigms are a little bit for our indicators unit and what that would look like if we decided to transition and how that would look. So thank you all for your introductions. I look forward to hearing from the rest of you. I know we have a submission already. So please do check these out for those of you who are on campus, since these are still your peers. They're just going to be maybe not sitting next to you in the classroom. So congratulations, you've completed your first assignment for those of you who are with us right now. Now the second assignment we are going to look at in a moment. But I did want to go over our assignment so that everybody's kind of oriented to expectations. For those of you sitting in the room right now, is it better for me to turn the lights off? Or is this kind of okay? Actually, we're going to be watching a clip, so I'll turn it off. Ask for your opinion and then don't use it. Oh, if you wouldn't mind, thank you. All right, so to start us off, just so that we get a little bit of fun before we dive into some very heavy subject matter. We're going to be looking at 2 different pieces. So I know that looks like a lot of text, but basically this boils down to we're going to be playing a little bit with some of the challenges that a few of you mentioned actually as humanity's greatest challenge, the difference in culture and in the way that's captured in the way that we see our messaging. So your task, should you choose to accept it, which I hope you do because there are points involved, is to look at 2 pieces of popular media. Sounds simple enough, right? So far. They can be anything from comics to movies to video games to anime to... We're also going to be including advertisements in that, and I will mention that in a moment. But people have used songs, people have used poetry. There's really no limit to the type of popular culture that you're engaging with. And the 2 different pieces that you're looking at do not have to be of the same medium. So if you want to look at a movie and you want to look at a comic, you can do that. But the challenge here then is that the first piece of media is largely for an American audience. So probably anything that you've seen in this room, for the most part, released in this country, should possibly count, assuming it's not in the foreign films section or for some festival or something else. You must also have an additional piece that looks at something that has at least a 50 or higher percentage of the audience that is non-American. So you can look at Asian references, you can look at European references, South American references, African references. Doesn't matter where your media is from. I do not expect you to look at something that's in a language that's not subtitled. Obviously, you're not expected to learn Croatian by July 5th because that would be ridiculous and a different class. But you are to look at something that is foreign. For anybody who's a little bit intimidated by this prospect, you can also look at news articles. So if you are doing that and you want to compare how a news topic is covered by an American media source and by a non-American media source, I provided a few here, BBC, Al Jazeera, Russia Today. Please don't find a blog of some random person from another country, someplace where it would be reasonable news media outlet source, but you can do that as well. We're going to look at a few examples of advertisements just to get a taste of what some of these things look like, but you are welcome to look at fictional pieces. Let me see, 4 hour. Other people, no questions here yet. Okay, so your first task is to find these 2 pieces of media. So if you're intimidated, I also have, we can go over a few of these examples. You can look at things that are explicitly environmentally centric, things like WALL-E, or you can look at something that's a little bit more implicit, like Rango. Or you can look at something within the context of a game that's not necessarily the focus of the entire story. That's fine as long as you are kind of pulling apart what it is the messaging is behind it. You don't have to look at environmental, you can look at social as well. So for those of you who kind of categorize these challenges being something that might be more relevant to culture or to race or gender or religion, you're also welcome to look at that if that's how you want to categorize your different sources. Ideally, your theme is similar across both of your pieces. So if you're looking at a social issue in one, you're looking at a social issue in another. If that's not possible, just kind of look at the way that they're categorized and the way that they're communicated. So the other thing I would encourage is if you're looking at one fictional piece, that you choose 2 fictional pieces, versus if you're going to look at like a news source, and fake news jokes aside, please look at 2 pieces of nonfiction or 2 pieces of fiction. that decision is up to you. You can choose fiction or nonfiction, but please decide on one or the other for your 2 pieces. Yes?
Can we choose 2 of like the same media styles, like 2 video games, 2
Absolutely.
movies? Okay.
Yes. And there have been people in the past that have looked at TV shows where one has aired in the US and one has aired in the UK and compared directly things like that. If you don't have as direct a comparison, that's also fine. So you don't have to look at, oh, I'm looking at Being Human US version and Being Human UK version. That you might get lucky and you might have something that you're aware of that's that kind of easy to compare, or you might be looking at something, you know, like WALL-E versus Princess Mononoke. That's fine. Anybody? Don't see any questions here yet, so that sounds good. You are, for anybody who is a little bit more interested in looking at nonfiction, please do realize that you can look at either analyzing an advertisement or analyzing a news source. So, but if you are looking at news, please do try to look at the same topic. So if they're talking about an oil spill, for example, maybe Al Jazeera looks at it differently than CNN does. And do note whatever your media source is if you're going with news, just so that you're acknowledging the whatever bias comes with that news source. Okay. So, once you've chosen your, well, okay, let's take a step back then. What are some good examples of American pieces that might fit the bill for this assignment? I'll leave this up to for our other lovely people who may want to. Lots of hard questions on the first day. Everyone's mad at me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay. That's fair.
Wait, what's the question?
What are good examples of American media that could be classified as something you could use for this assignment? And for anybody who is virtual right now, please also, if you have thoughts, you're welcome to post them in the chat or to unmute yourself if you would prefer.
Would documentaries be included in this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So, almost, well, a lot of the documentaries on Netflix about the environment and climate change, like I know the one with Leonardo DiCaprio, he narrates it.
Oh, see.
No?
This is a great idea. However, if you're looking at Before the Flood as one of your options, we're going to be engaging with that piece in class. So actually, thank you for bringing this up.
Okay.
I would encourage you not to go with that one specifically, but great examples if you wanna look at Netflix.
But in that kind of vein of thinking.
Absolutely.
Like with those documentaries and. Okay.
Right. And if you choose a documentary, just as you would for the news source, please make sure then you keep whatever your other piece is as nonfiction as well.
Bill Nye Saves the World.
You've got a particular audience and perspective captured in that, so an episode of that would absolutely be something that you could engage with, should you decide to do so. What about fictional examples? Come on, I know we have some gaming and movie people in here, or some song.
Not American, I can think of.
The Last of Us.
Ooh, okay. I like that you highlighted my favorite game, one of my favorite games. How so?
Because like 20 years from the involvement of human activity, you can see how the environment is different. Trees are growing in the middle of like roads and stuff like that.
So looking at something like a pandemic or an epidemic or a proliferation of a fungus, how that could impact like kind of a dystopian future.
Yeah.
Absolutely great example. Last of Us is always a good example. Yes?
Ferngully.
A classic, absolutely. Good one. It very even embodies kind of pollution and some of those things, which I'm not going to spoil for anybody who hasn't seen it. I sort of spoiled it. There's a lot more to it if anybody's interested in that piece. Yes?
It's an odd one. Tokyo Jungle.
Okay.
It's It's basically all humans just go extinct out of nowhere, and animals from like zoos are roaming free in Tokyo, and your goal is to like breed and survive.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a fun game.
Oh, it's a game?
Yeah, it's a fun game.
I thought it was a movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I like that we have different media that we're looking at. So the medium is of your choice. And again, if you say, hey, I want to do Last of Us and a movie, that's fine. As long as we're sticking with fiction, or nonfiction, which I'm hoping Last of Us is not nonfiction. That would be great. Yes?
So we went over some like film and game. What would be like a print? Would it be like a news source or some kind of paper?
Yes, ideally a news source. Just so the purpose of this assignment is to look at messaging. So what kinds of things does an American audience get exposed to, and is it, maybe it's very explicit, maybe it's, you guys are terrible people and you need to do something about this issue. Or maybe it's a little bit more subtle and there's just more facts in there, and it's like 75% of the forests are dead. I'm not blaming anyone here, but let that sink in. So we're just looking at those messaging elements. So if you're welcome to do like the news clip. We're going to be looking in a moment at a lot of different advertisements. So I think this should also get maybe the wheels turning for those things. Okay. So what about non-American media sources then?
Korean commercials.
Okay.
Just in general.
Okay. I have one really interesting foreign commercial for recycling. Very interesting. Actually, you might have already seen it.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so we have commercials. Commercials are always good, kind of a good testament of what's appropriate in the culture. You might see things that are a little bit louder or wilder in certain countries than less acceptable in others, where it would never air. So I do like advertisements for that reason.
In the same idea of commercials with like PSAs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like BBC.
Sure. Yes.
The Guardian.
Everyone's going with it. No one wants to do fiction?
Oh,
No.
fiction from other places? I don't know.
Doctor Who.
Okay, absolutely. So
Final Fantasy VII.
there you go. Good examples. So these do not, I know people usually get tripped up with does this count if American audiences have played or viewed this particular game, movie, whatever of the above? As long as you have a significant enough population, so say it was released in Japan and the US, if you would assume that probably half of the players, at least, or a good percentage of the players are Japanese, that's perfect. And you might even use that then as, if you want to compare one source, if you can find different elements, maybe there's something on the translation that you can see that might be different. That might get a little bit too difficult and complicated to find. So if you want to classify something that could be classified as either, as say, Final Fantasy, you want to use as your Japanese or foreign source, and you compare it to something that's American. And for those of you, the webcam's not facing me, using air quotes with the American, you can do that. Just make sure you explicitly make it clear whatever your, so sorry about that.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Okay, I am sharing the screen again. Sometimes that goes away. Thank you for highlighting that, Adrian. I apologize. Please do make sure to keep me honest if something does go awry with sound or with screen sharing. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. So as long as you're making your source or your piece clear that you're saying, okay, I realize this game is played by, not just Americans and Japanese, but probably plenty of other people as well. I'm going to be focusing on this as my foreign source. So just make sure whatever that is, that you're looking at a wide enough release that you could argue that it is geared toward that audience. So possibly accessible to others, including Americans, is fine. Like, you know, you might see a foreign film that's in French, but it's subtitled in English on Netflix. Okay, American audiences have seen it, they've been exposed to it, but it was released in France, and the context maybe is more appropriate or clearer to those who are French. Okay. All right, so once you've gotten those two sources cleared, look at what is your topic that's being discussed. So ideally, if you have the option to get similar topics, that would be great. If you don't, that's also fine. If there are pieces that you have in mind that maybe one is social, one is environmental, I would encourage you to look at things that are a little more similar, but that's acceptable as well. And then looking at the medium used, that's going to be something that's important to the way that they're portraying something. If you're looking at a TV series versus a game versus, you know, a static advertisement, they're going to be using different types of techniques to grab your attention or to portray whatever it is they're portraying. It's also going to be looking at whether it's implicit or explicit as well. So certain things might be, you know, right in your face, and others might be a more implicit theme in a video game, for example. And then this is going to be a lot that we're going to discuss in class. So the purpose of this assignment is to get a lot of your thoughts down, and then we're going to come in on Thursday, so a week from today, and talk about all of this stuff. So this is essentially your prep for looking at this stuff, and then also kind of comparing it across what your peers have found. Maybe you look at the same source and you see different things. That's fine. There's not necessarily a correct answer as long as we're approaching this in a means that seems reasonable. So voice and audience going to be different. Probably there might be cultural implications. And again, we are going to be looking at some advertisements that I will probably have to put a little asterisk on. Some of them might be not so politically correct for American audiences, and we're going to discuss that as well. But if you have other thoughts on storytelling mechanics, this would be where you put your opinion here. Maybe something was really effective for you, or maybe it was terribly ineffective and it made you mad, or made you bored, or you know, you just looked up your favorite video game to see if there was anything you could find on it, and then somebody else had thoughts on it, and you're like, hey, I never saw that before. That's also what you could put under question for, if you are so inclined. And then, because we are blended and we have a variety of people who are here and not here with us right now, we're going to be looking at comparing that with peers. So we'll get a little bit more of that when we come into the classroom and we can talk about it. But just so that our lovely onliners, particularly those who are not virtually present with us today, still get engaged and still get their thoughts heard. And yes, this blue haze, for those of you who are sitting here, means that the screen is sharing. So if you see that this blue haze has disappeared, please let me know. Thank you. Okay. Any questions up until this point? So this is around the time that everybody kind of stops giving me eye contact and decides that actually maybe this is a very strange class. We're going to be going over some examples of advertisements, so this should help spark at least thoughts on some of these things. You're welcome to look at an advertisement. Please do not look at an advertisement we've already looked at in class. Probably something I don't need to directly tell you, but just so that I'm not held accountable later for not explicitly mentioning it. You are welcome to look at something from the same country or from the same advertising campaign, for example, but please don't look at the particular advertisements that we're going to discuss. Okay, so the first example, and you are welcome to look at videos of advertisements, so something you would see on TV, or a print advertisement that you might see posted somewhere on a billboard, in a bathroom, in an advertising agency, wherever you would see these posted. Yes?
What about a trailer for a movie that hasn't come out yet?
Ooh. If there is enough substance in there to pick apart a theme that you think is portrayed, or if it looks like it's going to be portrayed a certain way, you're welcome to look at that as an option. Moving forward, we will be kind of moving a little bit away from fiction. So I wanted people to have the opportunity to look at it through a fictional context, because it's important essentially just to see how messaging and cultural context works, because we're going to see some of that. But yes, to your question. Okay, so this is an example from the UK, kind of a cute little example. We are going to see some print examples as well.
There was once a land where the weather was very, very strange. There were awful heat waves in some parts, and in others terrible storms and floods. Scientists said it was being caused by too much CO2, which went up into the sky when the grown-ups used energy. They said the CO2 was getting dangerous. Its effects were happening faster than they had thought. Some places could even disappear under the sea, and it was the children of the land who'd have to live with the horrible consequences. The grown-ups realized they had to do something. They discovered that over 40% of the CO2 was coming from ordinary everyday things like keeping houses warm and driving cars, which meant if they made less CO2, maybe they could save the land for the children.
Is there a happy ending?
It's up to us how the story ends. See what you can do. Search online for ACT on CO2.
Oh, okay. And now they're going to give you their little spiel. What do we see in that advertisement? What message are they providing to us?
You can do something like yourself.
Okay, so it's like a call to action?
Yeah.
Absolutely. What are they calling us to act upon?
Energy usage.
Okay, absolutely. So the grown-ups and their bad usage of energy, which I think all of us fall in that category, so sorry.
No, I live in a cave. I don't use energy.
All right. So you're excluded. That's fine. So the audience then for this advertisement, maybe not people who live in caves. Who would be the audience for this advertisement?
Grown-ups.
Okay. Are there any parents in this room or online with us? No? Okay. Anybody with a younger sibling who is like still a child?
Well, no. But yeah, no.
Okay. So do you think this is to all grown-ups, or do you think this is to a subsection of our grown-up population?
Parents, yeah.
Okay. So you're watching and you're like, that could be my child.
Yeah.
Potentially. Any other thoughts on who the audience would be? Aside from parents with weird squeaky voices.
And that idea, just people who care about the future of the planet.
Absolutely. So you don't have to be a parent to be concerned about the next generation?
Yeah.
Did it appeal to anyone in this room? Now it sounds like I'm trying to sell you something. I just mean in the way that was portrayed. You know, nice little story. Look at all these little bunnies. They're crying. The bunnies are crying.
Yeah, the storybook's a nice touch.
Okay. What about our lovely virtual people? Anybody tuned completely out of this or particularly thought that it was effective? Possibly going to get more snacks? Not sure. Did you see the advertisement, Alex? Ah, okay. Well, there will be plenty more. So we are looking at messaging for these different advertisements. So no worries.
The blue went away. Oh wait, never mind. I think it's still there. Just kidding.
The blue, it's gone. Okay, so where is the?
Oh, I love that ad. No.
There's another one that I wanted to. All right, so this ad from Korea very interesting. So I'm you know, all of us are adults in this room, but definitely a different feel to this ad than our previous ad. And I promise it is relevant. I know it seems not relevant for the first, like, 45 seconds of this ad. So South Korea.
Who are you? I'm your father.
All right, so kind of a different feel to that advertisement than our previous advertisement. Oh, good. Okay, so I now this is the one that engages people. All right, thank you, Adrian. Thank you. What was the messaging in this one?
Don't pee your cars.
Recycle.
So you can reuse things maybe that you don't expect to create beautiful things that are, you know, sleek and sexy, and we don't want dogs to pee on. All right. Who is the audience for this one?
Everyone.
Everyone?
People who are interested in buying cars.
Okay.
Probably not anybody under the age of driving.
Okay.
Or drink soda. Or like anything in a can.
Okay.
Recycle it.
Or who likes dogs.
I do like dogs. That was... The can took a sacrifice. Yes. Good. Maybe now we get a little bit more into cultural appropriateness. Would this run in the US, do you think?
No.
Why not?
It's different.
Because we're babies. Care to elaborate? Why are we babies?
We, I don't know, it's not kind of, not very, what's the term?
Politically correct.
Oh. Like Puritan or puritanical roots.
Okay.
Won't be caught to that stuff.
Okay. Would anyone else agree with that thought? Anybody think this would run in the US?
After Puppy Monkey Baby, I'm pretty sure anything will run in the US.
I think it would run.
Oh, yeah.
But for some reason that can reminded me of Coca-Cola Diet can or something like that.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So the branding that would be associated with it, potentially we have...
Yeah, you'd have to have like a selling point in the America. So you'd either have the Diet can, Diet Coke selling point, or the car.
Okay.
It'd have to be some kind of thing they're trying to sell you, because it's
Okay.
America.
Okay. So maybe you can drink, so I don't know if you want to drink anything from a can after that, but you can, you know, if you drink our cans, we don't let this happen because we recycle them, we go, whatever. Or maybe buy our car because if you're of the mindset that recycling is important, that we use that.
Yeah, like it would fit in the whole, like, this car's from recycled materials, so it's, yeah, good, awesome.
Right.
So buy this car.
And I agree with you, Adrian, so I don't know if this is probably legible to everyone else in the class. Okay, so you see the comments as they come in as well. So always good to recycle. Did this resonate more or less? I realize the subject matter was different, but I got more chuckling and more response from this. So more effective?
This is more effective, definitely.
Okay.
Does it make you want to recycle cans?
Yes.
Okay, then it's more effective.
All right. Now, in this, we're probably looking at a challenge that's a little bit easier to relate to with the I can recycle the can, but all of the other things with climate and scary monsters and crying bunnies, a little bit bigger of an issue. But, okay. Oh, no, just kidding. Okay. All right, so, where are you? All right, so this one is from Conservation International, looking at a different kind of advertising, or of messaging, rather.
So this is obviously not in the US.
I am the mountain. I am nature's oldest temple. My glaciers and streams provide the water you drink. My forests, your wood, your clean air. From up here, I see how you've come to treat this world. You used to recharge your body and soul in the calm of my forests. You once climbed my peaks, seeking enlightenment. Now you take what you want and contemplate only your own gain. Open your eyes while there's still time. Because there's one more thing I see clearly. The cliff you're on, and the rocks below.
Okay. Grenville yelling at you is always a pleasant thing on a...
Yeah, speaking of him, it reminded me of this commercial called The Red Eye, like the monotone. It's great.
Okay.
The monotone was very interesting. So, like, I was watching the pictures, however, it kind of lost me because of the guy that actually talked.
Okay, so it's
kind of
too calm, too serene.
Yeah.
Did anyone
Not
else
exciting.
feel the same way? Was the narrator ineffective or banal?
It could be just me.
They actually, Conservation International did a whole slew of these with different topics, looking at a lot of different kind of famous people talking through the perspective of different natural areas. Kind of cool. So, for those of you who are thinking maybe advertisements, more exciting than you thought, while you can't use Lee Pace's example with the mountain, you potentially could look at one of the others if you so choose. You do not have to. What did we think of this one though? Effective, not effective, boring, nice nature, and I'm gonna go sleep now.
It was really, it was like a warning, but it was, the music and the tone was too relaxing to be like any kind of urgency.
Okay. Even the crescendo before you're standing on a cliff.
Yeah, you're
Slight
standing on a
crescendo.
cliff. Okay.
Okay.
And
anyone gonna be in the corner of this ad? You don't have to be. Just.
I was gonna play the other side.
Oh,
but
yeah.
anyway, were you gonna say something?
Oh, it reminded me of this game called Mountain. It's just a mountain that just floats in space and it says philosophical things every once in a while.
Good game.
I like it.
I was gonna say was the words at the end were very powerful though. Nature doesn't need people. It's so true. Because it's just gonna keep going.
Yeah. And we're gonna see that as a distinction when we get to climate as well, because a lot of these things we talk about, everything's gonna be terrible, it's gonna be terrible, oh no! It's only gonna be terrible for us, and various other species that have kind of our climatic adaptability. But the Earth is still gonna be here. There's still gonna be some life that's able to persist through different conditions. So I like that highlight. Any thoughts from our lovely virtual people? Get more in. Ah, okay. Thoughts are accruing, buffering. Of the ads so far and the messaging techniques, which one appealed most?
the dog peeing in the can.
It's always the answer. Yes. Did you have your hand? No.
I'm just thinking.
Okay.
There you go. You have a comment.
Okay. So it's not necessarily the nature of the commercial, but it's rather that something that's a call to action that's easily digestible, something that I can relate to and I can see myself doing, versus what the heck am I supposed to? This mountain is yelling at me. This personified mountain is yelling at me. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I don't like about the first and third ad is like it's kind of just like saying, "Oh, humans suck. You guys are doing this," and it's not saying like this is what you should do to help. That's just kind of like that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no like actionable.
Alex agrees.
What does the personified mountain want? is my new favorite sentence.
The soda can wants me to recycle. That's what it says.
Okay. So this call to action still, you know, we have kind of these bite-sized messages, but one is maybe a lot more digestible. Continue the metaphor. Okay. So then to shift gears a little bit to just kidding. This is why I can't have
I love this ad.
Have too many things up. To look at a more social issue. Is this from Thailand? I want to say this is from Thailand. Yes. Okay. This is a Thai commercial.
เขาจะได้อะไรถ้าเขาทำแบบนี้ทุกวันเขาจะไม่ได้อะไรเลยไม่ได้รวยขึ้นไม่ได้ออกทีวีไม่มีใครรู้จักไม่ได้มีชื่อเสียงที่มากขึ้นเพราะสิ่งที่เขาได้คือได้แค่ความรู้สึกได้เห็นความสุขได้เข้าใจได้ความรักได้ในสิ่งที่เงินซื้อไม่ได้ได้โลกที่สวยงามกว่าเดิมในชีวิตคุณอะไรคือสิ่งที่คุณต้องการมากที่สุด
ไทยประกันชีวิตเชื่อในความดี
There's the kicker. So, thoughts on this one? This one's my favorite.
It's so good.
It has a lot
Why
of
is it good? That is, yeah. The first time I saw this, I'm like, what are we buying though? But maybe that's a cultural perspective I'm taking going into watching this. I'm used to seeing things that are trying to sell me things, so my first thought is, what the heck are you trying to sell me? Well, I mean, life insurance, so important.
It's pulling at your heartstrings with a doggo and a little girl.
There you go. Look at the logos, ethos, and pathos. Yes. What is the cultural implication, do you think? Would this kind of ad be shown in the U.S.? With maybe a little bit of different context? I don't think this. Not for like, okay.
Not for insurance, yeah.
Maybe not major broadcasters.
But other broadcasters? Yeah. Who would be likely to show this? What would be the audience for this kind of commercial?
Penny a Day guy, or the
okay.
The Arms of the Angel.
No, Sarah McLachlan dog ass.
Yeah.
I don't have any of those.
This is easier to digest than those.
Okay.
That hits you really hard from the beginning over here, but this is like, it shows you a story of all these little things that he does.
Right.
That have big reactions.
So they're incremental in terms of the daily way that he engages, but he grows something, whether that's the ability for that girl to get an education, or the ability for that tree to grow, or that dog to have food and a home. So, yes, absolutely. So, do you think this, Adrian, or anyone else, do you think this compassion then is showcased in this Thai commercial because it's more culturally appropriate there than it is here? Not that it's not culturally appropriate to be compassionate in an American context, but maybe not through the same lens of expectation that we might see on TV.
I feel like Thailand has like less capabilities and like resources to get things. So
Okay.
I'm thinking that's a good place to do it there, and it makes makes you interested in like actually helping out environmentally and also like helping out like in another country.
Okay.
It could also be a religious connotation, because they're very Buddhist over there.
Absolutely. I'm glad we touched on that. You're going to see that as different elements that are going to come through in whatever pieces you choose. Even when we look at things, I mean, maybe this is some degree fictionalized, right? But the idea of something like this could be have a greater context like that. So, yeah. Right. So, where's the other one? This one. Okay. So, looking at a few print examples, and this one is from Denmark. What are we looking from the World Wildlife Fund, or at least their branch in Denmark? I think this was showcased in Copenhagen. What is our messaging here? This is a paper towel dispenser in like a bathroom, for context, if anybody's looking at that going, what the heck is that?
Oh.
That makes sense now. Okay.
I got a few faces of like, what?
So the paper colors in the country?
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha. And the more paper you use, the less green there is.
You're killing all the trees. Is this effective? Oh.
I mean, you're still using it.
But do you feel a little bit more bad, especially when you're like here? You're like, I gotta use two. My hands aren't dry yet.
But should they have that and an alternative, like the air drying thing?
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's just giving you one choice, and it's like, save paper. Okay.
You just have a bunch of people walking outside of the bathroom going like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you all become bird people? No. I just gotta dry my hands because the thing in the bathroom made me sad. Let's see for our other people. We should just, this doesn't get big enough. Some of these don't get big enough though if I make it. No. Okay. Oh, there you go. Sorry, I missed this part. All right. So, all right. This is where it begins. We're going to be looking at things possibly not politically correct for the context of the U.S. So bear with me on this. We're going to be looking at this and critiquing it appropriately. Let me see what this one is from. These are from France. So we have this option. Your skin color shouldn't dictate your future. And we also have this additional example. Same messaging on the top. What do we see, and what is the message behind both of these
Racist.
pieces?
All Hispanic women are like cleaners or stuff like that.
Okay, so is this message telling me that all Hispanic women are cleaners, or what is my?
It's like
what should I take away from this?
Yeah, like don't stereotype people because they're
okay.
because of their skin color.
Especially when they're just born. It's like you don't know that. They don't even know anything. So you're pigeonholing them from the get-go.
Okay. Not there any other?
It's like, this is the mold you're gonna fit for the rest of your life.
Is there any? That's one other. which do you see one or the other of these as more effective, or are they both equally as?
I don't get the second one. Yeah. What is he dressed as?
He's a city worker.
I think the top one's more effective because
Okay.
there are a couple white babies staring, like there's one staring directly at her and acknowledging.
Ah, okay.
What's going on.
And this one even has a toy.
Yeah.
Look at this toy.
Yeah,
This baby has a toy.
Are white babies gonna grow up in their diapers or something? I don't know.
Yes. I like that. Yeah. The point here is not any kind of a job implication, but rather that white babies grow up to be naked.
Yeah, they don't have like business suits or anything.
Okay.
There's no.
So it's a blank slate then for these two or three, half a child. I don't know.
You're gonna
2.5 children. But this child already has something set up for them. Right. So this says liking isn't helping, be a volunteer, change a life. So what issue are we looking at for these sets? These are from Singapore.
I think it like targets like those Facebook posts where people go like 1 like equals 1 prayer or stuff like that, and it's just like a like isn't gonna like do anything.
Okay.
It's what you actually do, like your actions towards the cause.
What implication does social media have on culture then, if we're looking at this and saying, okay, clearly all these thumbs up, not doing anything for this person?
There's a disconnect. Because social media is like, hey, you do this action on this platform, give you this false feeling of doing something.
Right.
But it's not doing anything.
Right. Absolutely. So you're like, I did my good deed for the day, gonna go buy my Starbucks.
Yeah, you're not donating, you're not actually volunteering or anything with these organizations.
Absolutely. Are these effective advertisements?
Yeah. The kids that are bleeding or lost limbs.
Okay. What's the call to action then? Okay, I just won't like these posts then. Done. Problem solved. Ah, okay. Yes, they do have a be a volunteer, change a life. Sorry, I didn't show you that part of it. Surprise.
Yeah, in the picture, everybody's putting their thumbs up, they're not putting their hands up to help or anything.
I like it. So depending on the imagery here, then we could show some kind of follow up that maybe there's another way this can be depicted so that yes, I like it. This one is from Switzerland on a bus. So these are I think actually this is also in a theater. What do we get out of this one? Sit behind this guy on the bus. What's going on, buddy? I don't know if we can see so it says,
What does it say?
victims are people just like you and me. And this is for the closer up on kind of all of the nice indentations that come from.
I thought it was like a human trafficking ad or something. Yeah.
Okay.
But if it's toward
to abolish torture. Where is this from?
Switzerland. That's from our virtual people? No. Okay.
It's just a humanitarian look at you shouldn't do this to your fellow man type thing.
Absolutely. So this could be you, or this could be, this is not something that's
like we all bleed blood. We're all humans. Shouldn't do these terrible things to other people.
Absolutely. How many of these ads that we've seen so far are calls to action versus just awareness raisers? What's the point of, I see this and I go, okay, well, I don't torture anybody.
Maybe it's just to elicit your feelings.
Okay.
Towards this thing. Like
maybe I Google it on my phone while I'm on the bus. What is this?
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of like you said, like an awareness thing. Getting people to actually think about it, like subliminal messaging, and then that'll
Absolutely.
spread, and people will just be nicer to everybody.
I saw this thing on the bus today.
Totally not gonna torture this guy later.
Yeah. Good. See, advertisement worked. Oh, what about this one? This one is from Turkey. So everyone understands this image, yes?
Yes.
The shark. Horrifying. But then more horrifying.
Yeah, because you don't know where the shark is.
It's unknown.
See, this is funny because usually we do get these factions. Where is the shark? Is it deeper beneath the ocean? Am I a swimmer? Who is the audience? It's extinct.
It's extinct.
The swimmers or like the people that actually likes to go in the ocean and like surf and stuff.
Okay. So this is, I think, a very interesting advertisement because it seems often we get both of these perspectives. So this is from the World Wildlife Fund. So likely it is shark is gone, he's bad for ecosystem, all the other things that come along with that. But depending on where you see it, if you see it on the beach, or if you see it on in a some kind of resort next to the beach, or a billboard on the way to the beach, maybe the context changes for how you would perceive this type of advertisement. So interesting too with the effectiveness of what am I trying to capture here and have I done it? Well, clearly, if I was trying to look at extinct sharks as an issue, I haven't captured that for my entire audience. So, interesting. There was another one that I usually like to show, but I don't remember where it is. Not those. This one. Okay. Air pollution kills 60,000 people a year. And we have...
Get it?
Gun. Effective? Not effective?
That's pretty effective.
Is that poster really there?
Yes.
Like somebody put that on their own bill.
This is... Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe I think this is NRDC's campaign. So this is a U.S. campaign where they were finding various buildings in some industrial towns. So yes, it's not actively out there, but it was one of their campaigns for proposed types of advertisements. There's another one. I don't remember where it is.
Ah!
That's sad.
Ah!
No.
Okay. This is a popular advertisement campaign from Amnesty International. So this is at a bus stop. And it says, it's not happening here, but it is happening now.
What is he for?
What are we talking about here? This is weird. This guy, he's got a gun, he's a child.
Child soldiers.
What does it mean it's not happening here, but it's happening now?
It's happening in Africa, right?
Okay. So
just because it's not in your environment or you don't see it, it's still happening.
absolutely. So in our context, that looks kind of ridiculous, right? If you're just waiting for the bus and there's like this little kid with a gun. What? But in certain places, way of life, where you'd have, maybe you see several children holding guns on your way to wherever it is you go every day, to get water, to go to work, whatever. Oh, sharks are all dead.
No!
R.I.P. the sharks.
Oh, why?
That was great.
There's another one.
Is that Obama?
Yes. Here's censorship tells the wrong story.
Wait, what?
Okay, this is an interesting one too. This is, I think this is.
Huh.
I think
Is it
this is a
supposed to
US
look like
one.
he's grabbing her boob?
Yeah.
Is that
Censorship tells the wrong story.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we capturing here?
Lies.
Or not capturing here?
Lies.
Sorry, that was really inappropriate.
Not knowing the truth, we get our own ideas from it or make up stories about it.
Okay. So depending with the information we're given, we make judgments about what transpired here if we're given only so much information. Which is far as I know, this never happened, but you know, it's fine.
The message is censorship tells the wrong story, so there shouldn't be any censorship, so you get the truth.
Okay.
That's another way.
Good. There's another one. I don't know. It might be on one of my other things here. There's a good one that I need to show before the end of the class. Maybe it's here. Oh, here it is. Okay, so just before we get to these next two, which you kind of got a sneak peek of anyway, the second one is particularly maybe difficult for certain members of our American audience to view. So please just bear in mind that this is not, we're looking at this kind of very unbiasedly.
Objectively.
Yes, thank you. But be aware that it potentially could be something that elicits a lot of emotions in us. So the first one, not so much necessarily, but this is from France. And this is, again, from the World Wildlife Fund because they are very visual with their advertisements, so we get a lot of them. What are we looking at here?
Pair of lungs.
Pair of lungs! Yes. What else is this?
A forest.
What's happening to my lungs/forest? Deforestation. Goodbye, lungs. What message are we sending here?
As we kill trees, we kill our oxygen supply.
Okay. The lungs of the planet, reducing our ability to manage and cope with some of these things. Okay, so this next one I believe is it Brazilian?
I don't know about you, but I like breathing.
It's Brazilian. Okay. So, can I make this bigger? Oh, okay. So,
This is referred to 9/11.
Yes, and it says, if I can make this big, every time I try to make, okay, well, the wording on it says, the tsunami killed 100 times more people than 9/11. The planet, oh wow, is brutally powerful, respect it, preserve it. What are we getting from this one?
Oh, that hurricane is like equivalent to all those planes flying at the World Trade Center.
Okay.
Like,
Would this be aired in the U.S.?
Yeah.
No.
no.
God, no.
No. Why not?
It's just a little sensitive, a little culturally sensitive.
They did actually issue a apology. This branch of the Brazilian company that released this.
It's almost like it's trivializing the deaths of 9/11. Like I get what it's saying, but it's almost like it's trivializing those deaths. Like, yeah, this thing happened, but this thing will kill 100 times more people. And I'm like, okay, but people still died.
Yeah, and then just the imagery itself is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, let's put a bunch of planes in this picture.
Okay.
That's a low blow.
Yeah.
How else could we have appropriately captured the same gravitas without maybe other things
into it?
that might be offensive to certain cultures or certain people. Again, this aired in Brazil, so this is not something that they directly dealt with in their own country, but
Were they trying to like specifically like target Americans?
so the messaging that came out of this after it was released was essentially that they were like, we really wanted it to be very dramatic and cause a lot of discussion, but it was not. We made a bad choice.
It's caused discussion, I'm sure, but
they really, at least the statement they released was that they had originally gone for something that would be very eye-catching and dramatic, but maybe they went a little in the wrong direction. Does this give you a better idea of certain types of things you can look at if you go with advertisements?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So please don't use any of the ones we looked at already, but you are welcome to consider advertisements. Again, you don't have to if you want to look at a fictional piece or if you want to look at a media outlet or different news sources. You're welcome to do that as well. Oh, I don't know if I put books. as one of your options. You can also use just regular books with no pictures in them.
Boring.
Or not.
Yeah, it's boring.
So, okay. Does anyone have any questions or concerns? Oh, wait. The nugget.
Oh,
The nugget. So, is the Bruntland Commission. So we're looking at
What you doing?
Let me just bring up, where is it? So they wrote, so the Bruntland Commission wrote a report called Our Common Future, which, just to get a quick little look at that, I know we don't have much time, is essentially laid the foundation for what is sustainability and what is sustainable development. This report came out in 1987, and it's really kind of laid the foundation for the modern environmental movement. So we'll get a little bit more into this next class if we have time, but today's nugget is the Bruntland Commission. You don't have to highlight this report, but just mention the Bruntland Commission in your submission. If you want to go into it, you can go into it, but the nugget is the Bruntland Commission. Okay. Usually they will not be in the last 3 minutes of class, but today I got a little too excited, so. All right. Any other questions or concerns? Who has the intro sheet? So for those of you who are watching this after the fact, please do submit your, yes, if you would like to submit a screenshot or a picture of the individual or organization or agency, you're welcome to submit it as a picture. So for those of you who are joining us online and watching this not live, please make sure you have your intro submitted. Please also make sure that you submit your nugget. And for everyone else, including those who are with us currently, please make sure that you submit by Wednesday evening at 11:59 Arizona time, because I know some of you may or may not be in Arizona at the time or living in Arizona at all. Your submission for the pop culture. And please do engage with at least 2 of your peers. We will get a little bit more of that engagement in class, but just so that we are able to capture everyone's thoughts, even those who might not be joining us in person. We're going to keep this format. We won't have too many discussion boards, but just to get us all engaged from the beginning. No other questions or concerns. Let me write down.
I'm always concerned.
And Austin, Adrian, and Alex, I have you on my list as well for intros, so you do not need to worry about submitting the intros. Please still submit the nuggets, even if you are sitting with me virtually or on ground now. You can do it right now, or you can do it sometime before Sunday. But thank you all, and hopefully, I'm looking forward to a great rest of our 7.5 weeks. Have a safe and happy 4th of July, and 3rd of July, and weekend. And I will see you next Thursday.
Extended nap time.
There's no school Monday and Tuesday?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Academic holiday on Monday. All right. Adrian, Alex, and Austin, any last-minute questions or concerns? Nope. Well, thank you all for joining us. I appreciate you calling in with us. So look forward to hearing more from all 3 of you. Have a great weekend. I'm going to end the conference just so that nobody feels like I'm kicking them out, but there is a class that's going to be coming in here, so. have a lovely afternoon or evening, depending on where you are.